Okay, round 24. You want to chain 1. Now the next thing that I would advise you to do is start adding your stuffing. Okay, and the reason I say that is because you're getting really small with your opening here. So go ahead, and I like to pull my stuffing apart. Do it a little at a time, fluff it up, because otherwise you're going to just get big lumpy pieces in there, which is no good for Santa because he doesn't like big lumps in his belly. So then you just keep on stuffing, and you can take your hook out, but if you do that you might want to pull that loop quite a bit big. That way you don't lose that. And like I said, you're going to need more stuffing than you think because he has a big belly. At least my Santa does. And you want it to be kind of poofier down at the bottom. And Chris laughs at me because I get this stuff all in my rings and everywhere. And I'm still pulling it out. So you just keep on stuffing till whenever you're satisfied. And you can stuff as you go if you like. And then I just wiggle it a little bit and it rolls it nicely. Kind of gives it shape. And you can make him as fat as you want. And don't forget, he's Santa Claus, so he's supposed to be a little fat. So just stuff him, and you want him to have a fatter bottom. So that's good enough for me for right now. I can do some more as I go. So then you want to put your hook back in. Okay, you've already chained that 1. Okay, so you've chained your 1 up. So let's see, row 24. So what you're going to do now is do 2 single crochet together. So go into that first one, pull up, and go into that next one, pull up. And things are going to get a little bit tighter. Alright, and then you're going to single crochet in the next one. And that's going to be your pattern. Okay, then the next one, single crochet 2 together. And then single crochet in the next one. Single crochet 2 together in the next 2. And then single crochet in the next. And I tend to slow down a bit on these smaller rows because you got to get it tight or your stuffing is just going to come out. 2 single crochet together here, single crochet on the next one. Okay, 2 single crochet together on the next 2. Single crochet on the next. And 2 single crochet together. You got to get these tightened up as you go. And then single crochet next. And then you want to join. It's harder to see those stitches. Okay, so you want to join those up, and now you may want to do a little bit more stuff in here. If you don't have enough, go ahead and try to get it down in there best you can, because this is going to start closing up completely. That's looking pretty good. Put the rest of that in there, and I think I'm good on my end. Alright, so now rounds 25 and 26 you're going to chain up 1 and you're going to single crochet around. Okay, so you should have 12 stitches. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yay, 12. Not bad. Okay, so you'll join that up with a slip stitch, chain 1, you'll do that again. So single crochet, so you'll just single crochet in each one of those for another 12. And you're making the point of the hat, or you're right at the point, the base of the point. How's that? This is so much fun. Love making these. Hope you guys are having as much fun as I am. Alright, now this is row 26. Now what you want to do is you want to join back B, which is going to be your white. I know you're thinking, oh my goodness, how many more color changes? But this is going to be the last one. So now don't slip this through. Alright, so you're going to take your white. It's not going to be that difficult. Finish off your green. And you're going to put that on there, pull it through and through, just like we did. Okay. And the cool part is you're just going to tuck these ends in and let it ride. You're not going to go over the top of them this time, you're just going to tuck them. So tie them and tuck them. Okay. Now you're going to have to grab you a bit more stuffing because you want the top of the hat to be pointy, don't you? You got to make that point happen. So you want to stuff a little bit more. You may have to stuff a little bit more as you go. Alright, now for row 27, you're going to chain up 1. Get my stuffing in there. And you're going to single crochet around, so you still have 12. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, you're going to join. Okay, so that's row 27. And you're still going to have to stuff it just a little bit to get the point. Now round 28, you're going to chain 1. So grab you a little bit more stuffing. You want to keep stuffing to the very end. Alright, and now for round 28, you're going to single crochet 2 together, which you're going to cut your 12 stitches in half at this point. You're going to cut them back down to 6, which is what we started with. So you're going to do 2 together. So there's 1, 2. Okay, you're going to do 2 together. 1, 2. Pull together. Okay. Two together. The next 2 together. Next 2 together. And the last 2 together. Okay, so that takes you from 12 down to 6. So now you're going to want to join. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to put a little bit more stuffing in there. Alright, and now row 29, which is our last row, you're going to chain up 1 and single crochet in each stitch. So you should have 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, now what I want you to do is cut you a decent enough piece, and then you're going to get yourself a decent thread and needle. Thread that piece up, go right through the last loop that you had and pull it through, and now you're just going to go right through those top loops and you're just going to sew that shut. You know, you can make about 3-4 passes. You should not need no more than that. And you sew that up to a point. And then what you'll do, you'll finish that off. The last loop you pass by, you will double pass that by, knot that up, and then lose your thread in your yarn or your Santa, and then cut that. That's all there is to that. Alright, so I'm going to back this up for you, and there is your Santa ornament. Now what we get to do is embellish him and make him cute as a button. So now I will be back and we will do that part of him as well. Alright guys, here's the fun little decorative part. Alright, you remember on the row that we did in the back loops, not the first row down here, but the second row. It's about row 18. What we're going to do is you're going to join B, which is your white. Okay, so if you're looking at my Santa ornament, you're going to look at it and you see these stitches right here, right where we went from the oatmeal color or the neutral color to the 2 rows of white right before the green. So you're in between here and you see that stitch line right there. Those are the back loops or the actual front loops that you're going to be working in. Okay, So what we're going to be doing is you're going to be putting a ruffle on Santa's hat. So I went down one stitch or one size on my hook. That way it's a little bit easier to use. You can go down smaller if you want. So what you're going to do is go take your white, and you're going to go in to one of those loops. Doesn't matter which one. And this is going to be a little bit difficult to do depending on how tight you did your stitches. So you're just going to pull through and through for a slip stitch. Okay, so now what you're going to do, chain up 3. And you can do these loose, it's not a big deal. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, so then what you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch in the front loop of the next one. So you're going to dig for that next one. Then you're just going to slip stitch. See what I did? And then you're just going to chain 3. So you're going to have to use all your fingers for this. That way it's not too loose, not too tight. So then you're going to go into the next one, do a slip stitch. Okay, take your time, nobody's rushing you. Chain 3. Okay, go into the next front loop, or only available loop here, because these are actually your front loops. And do a slip stitch, and you may have to pull that to make it a little bit tighter. That way you don't have a lot of loose loops. Chain 3. Next loop, you want to go under it and slip stitch. Chain 3. 1, eventually. 1, 2, 3. And then you just work it all the way around. Do a slip stitch and chain 3. Just like that. And then you're just going to be making Santa's ruffle for his hat. Is that not adorable? So 1, 2, and 3. So it really doesn't matter where you start and stop. I mean, you could do it where you end up back here or wherever. It doesn't matter because you're not going to see this seam anyway. So you just keep going around. And like I say, some of them are a little tough to get into. So the smaller hook that you use, I think it'll be a little easier on you. So just keep going, doing your slip stitch. Some of them you got to dig a little harder for. I don't know why. Slip stitch. Like I say, cotton's just a different yarn. Okay, so you're just going to do that all the way around, and then I'll meet you up when I'm ready to join. Alright guys, I've gone all the way around. So now what you're going to do, you're going to finish up this very last one here. Chain up 3, and then you're just going to join right into the center of that first one we did with the slip stitch. Then you'll just finish off, and you'll just weave or tie those two together, and that will just hide your join. And you can weave in those ends. And now you see that you have a Santa hat that actually has ruffles. And like I say, you won't notice your join. And it's very, very adorable the way that they have this pattern done. It's just very playful, and it has been written really well for what it is. And you can do this in many colors, so you can play with this as well. And I have some other colors, some other holiday colors that I thought about doing this in that are like a speckled white Christmas color type. And my cotton's coming out, or my fluff's coming out of it. But anyways, so I thought about making a couple more. So anyways, you weave all that in and hide it real good from yourself where you can't pull it back out like I just did. There we go. So now that you have his hat, what we're going to do now with me is we are now going to make his little beard. So get your bee, and what you're going to do at this point, you're going to make a chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, you are going to work 9 triple crochets into the 5th chain from the hook. So you're going to go all the way back down here and you're going to do 9 triples. So you wrapped your yarn 2 times and you're just going to do 9 triples. It's very simple. So 1, 2, 3, wrapped around my computer here, and this is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so we're going to fasten off, but we're going to leave a tail to operate that with. So what I'm going to do is pull that through like that. I'm going to thread that onto my needle, and I'm just going to work that end back through that last triple. That way I can get it back down to the center of this. And just like that. So then you decide which way is going to be his face, and I'm going to leave that big seam for the back. Okay. So then what you want to do is, if you look at my red one, you see that I put the beard just right above the line, the green line, the red line, whatever. Okay, so once you get that set, you're just going to kind of sew it on there. I'm going to go in and out of the stitches there. You want to make sure you get it connected to the back. So you just want to go in and out. And you don't have to go down in here if you don't want. It's totally up to you. I kind of left half of it unsewn. That way it was just a little bit of a floppy beard. Because all beards are not connected all down through here. I went a little ways, but not all the way. And see, that's really all you need to do. You don't need to go crazy with the stitches. So I'm just going to go right back up to the top where I can tie it to the other strand. Just like that. Tie it right across. You tie it again. Then you want to grab both of these strands here, and you'll pull them to the back where they hide. Then you snip those off. Okay? And that's his beard. Alright, and then what you're going to do at this point, you're going to grab his little eyeballs, however you choose to do them. I am using the glue gun. So you want to glue the eyes, if that's how you choose. Don't like glue guns all the time, but there we go. There's one. And then there's two. And you glue those on. And then you just get your glasses and whatever you make them out of. And I don't have a second pair right yet to put on him, but it's on the instructions. You just make them out of a piece of wire and you just curl them. Very simple. And these are glued on, so I'm not going to take them off. It's a very simple process. And then whatever yarn you choose to use, you can just make a simple crocheted string, just like what I did with the red. I simply took the green and I took either the white or the red, either one. And then what I did is I took a bigger crochet hook, I tied the tail on, or I left a longer tail. That's what I did. Okay, and so all I did was made just a basic chain. And I meant to leave a long tail for a reason. You can make it as short as long as you want, depending on what you're going to do with it. If you're going to have it hanging on your door, or if you're going to have it hanging on your tree, or if you're going to have it hanging in your car from your mirror. Just accommodate for that size. Okay, and remember, you need to, double it over. So accommodate for the size, so make sure you double it. Or like I said, you can use the ribbon. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to cut that now. Pull it through. Okay. And then what you do is you go through the top of the hat, go pretty deep inside here, because you don't want to just barely take it through. And just pull that through the tip. And you don't want to tie it way up there. You want to keep it right here. You want to keep it at the tips of the knots, just like this. Okay, and there we have our little Santa, and he's so cute. So you have him with his glasses and without his glasses. So, you don't have to have the glasses. If you don't have anything to use for the glasses, it's fine either way. So it's up to you. It doesn't take much. you know, even if you have a twisty of some sort. Either way, you don't have to go out and get anything special for that. So, you know, again, this is your Santa ornament. And he is so super cute. And I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. And that's all there is to it, guys. And it was so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed working him up with me. So now I have a pair of them, and they'll be put out on Thanksgiving Day with the rest of my Christmas ornaments. So until the next video, guys, happy hooking!